This is the BenQ EL2870U monitor. This sub $500 4K gaming focused monitor gives you 28 inches of HDR real estate. Its main selling points are its 1 millisecond response time, a quick toggle for HDR, and its Brightness Intelligence Plus technology, but I feel like the HDR logo is what makes up for a lot of its cost. However, this is a TN panel with a brightness of 300 nits. And while it may bump that up a little after toggling HDR and Brightness Intelligence Plus, it won't come close to the 800 to 1000 nits rating that is needed for a truly great HDR experience. Sure, it has a 1000:1 contrast ratio and 10-bit color, but to really enjoy HDR, you need a VA or an OLED panel. Which brings me to the color. Again, it's 10-bit, but this monitor only has a 72% color accuracy rating, which means things still look great, but not accurate enough to be used as a mid to high-end production monitor where color accuracy is important. But like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a gaming-focused monitor, and it's not being marketed as or portrayed as a production monitor at all. Instead, it uses its 3840 by 2160 resolution to give you a beautiful gaming experience at 60 Hz. And even though it doesn't have the brightness or contrast ratio of a VA or an OLED panel, having the ability to toggle HDR on and off allows you to easily tell if that enhancement is something you want to game with. Where this monitor really shines though, and where the TN panel pulls its weight, is the 1 millisecond response time. Yes, it's limited to 60 Hz, and yeah, probably a lot of gamers would prefer 144 Hz. But the low response time will make ghosting a non-issue and could mean the difference between a headshot or hitting the wall behind somebody. Maybe. Switching the focus a bit, the overall aesthetics are simple and great looking. The stand is a metallic gray plastic with a glossy black backing, which was simple enough to set up, but it only tilts up and down. You can't rotate, raise, lower, or swivel this thing at all. However, if you prefer, you could use a 100 by 100 VESA mount on the back with a monitor mount of your choosing. As for the bezels, well, on the top and the sides they are 16 millimeters thick, which by itself is not a major issue, but for anyone wanting a multi-monitor setup, this thicker bezel could play a factor into wanting to run a game that spans all monitors. For connectivity, you get 2 HDMI ports, 1 display port, and a headphone jack. Something that's missing, albeit not missed, at least by me, are USB ports. And yes, you do get built-in speakers that can technically be a replacement for not having speakers at all, but like always, it's probably better just to get an external set. Now the menu is controlled with ease from the bottom right of the monitor. These menus will give you the basic options for things like color, audio, or other miscellaneous items, but the HDR button that's a little bit above it will allow you to toggle HDR and the Brightness Intelligence Plus technology. Now, Brightness Intelligence Plus, or BI Plus, allows you to dynamically adjust the brightness based off your surroundings using a sensor located at the bottom middle of the monitor. Now, something I did notice is that when viewing the screen at an angle, it can cause a slight shift of color. It does have a viewing angle of 160 degrees from the side, but this is especially noticeable when looking down on the monitor. Not that I find this a big issue, but in situations that might call for it, this could be a consideration. The good thing though is that when it comes to any backlight bleeding, I didn't notice much of anything at all when I was using it. Throwing it in a dark room and pointing my expensive camera at it, I was able to see a little bit, but it's safe to say that the monitor looks as good as it can within the limitations of a TN panel. I can honestly say that I enjoyed gaming on this monitor, and I feel like picking apart the more in-depth technical specs or panel limitations could almost be considered unfair. After all, it's all about the experience, and when you're blasting away monsters or flying through space and everything just looks amazing, its limited color accuracy, brightness, or implementation of HDR all seem to just fade away. And that's because it does look fantastic. It has deep, vibrant colors and is still plenty bright enough to enjoy your favorite games. Add to that its FreeSync support and built-in Eyecare technology for prolonged flicker-free gaming, and you get a pretty good 4K 16:9 gaming monitor for the price. So if you're looking for a good mid-range monitor and want to dip your toes into the world of HDR gaming, or maybe even pair it up with a 4K capable console, this could be a solid solution. However, if you want deeper blacks or maybe brighter HDR, you may need to look at something with a different panel. So I guess as always, it comes down to what do you want to get out of a gaming monitor and how much are you willing to pay for it. If you are looking to get up-to-date pricing and/or more detailed technical specifications, check out the links in the description down below. As always, thank you for watching, like, and subscribe, and have yourself a good night.